What's good, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. So today I am doing a Five Guys mukbang. I have a hot dog here with some fries, and my favorite thing to have with a hot dog, or anything from Five Guys for that matter, a vanilla Coke. On the hot dog I have barbecue sauce, grilled onions, pickles, and relish. I usually don't get the relish, but I was like, today, yeah, mix it up. Why not add something else in there? I'm also going to be talking about the Joker movie that I have seen now. I'm ready to talk about that and review it. Very excited to talk about that with y'all. I'm going to dig into the food a little bit first before I go too deep into the film. Now, the hot dog, I can already tell, like, the bun has already been separated, so I got to be very careful. I love Five Guys hot dogs, though. Mm. Mm. Very good. Underrated hot dogs at Five Guys. Underrated. I love them. Vanilla Coke. I love those freestyle machines. Aren't they the best? I do whatever you want. You gotta be very careful with this hot dog. Once you don't got that secure bun, all bets are off. Alright. Alright, so The Joker is directed by Todd Phillips and stars Joaquin Phoenix. If you don't know Joaquin Phoenix, he was in the Gladiator movie. He's the bad guy in that movie. It's about Arthur Fleck. He is a mentally ill person who lives in Gotham City, who takes care of his mother. He's aware he's mentally ill. He has a job as a clown, of course. But more or less just feels very abandoned by society. It has let him down. He just has negative thinking. He was in the mental hospital. He's now out. He's taking care of his mom. And slowly, everything in his life just lets him down. It's the society that's supposed to help him out lets him down. Now, Gotham, it's like late 70s, early. That's just at least the time period I think it is. I could be wrong about that. So Thomas Wayne is still around at this time, Bruce's dad. And Arthur's mom is constantly writing him. She used to work for him. Hey, can you help me out? Me and my son are going through rough times. But it's just very sad to watch this person who is mentally unstable. It just, like, there's nothing there for him. He gets beat up. He gets bullied. He gets mocked. He gets treated like trash. And it's terrible. It's like a tragedy to watch. Until he decides to take things into his own hands. Now, once he makes that turn, there's no turning back. Everything in his life that he thought was good isn't good. He's actually a good person in the beginning of the film. Now, when you start watching a movie, it's going to start off a little bit slow. It's a character building movie. So just be aware, you're watching a character study of one of the most known, famous villains of pop culture, of fiction, of all time, of comic books. Probably, in my opinion, the best villain in the comics. There's nobody like him. Because what separates the Joker is he doesn't care. He has no agenda. He doesn't want money. He doesn't want power. He doesn't want any of that. He just likes to see chaos ensue, and the people who society sees as righteous, he wants to point out, you're not so righteous. And you see the descent into that character. There's a great scene on the subway and on the subway platform. When you go to see this movie, you'll know what I'm saying. I am going to go into spoilers. After I get done eating, after review, I'm gonna go into some spoilers. But the way the movie is shot is absolutely beautiful. Joaquin Phoenix is tremendous. He's great across the board. He captures his character. He has this condition where he involuntarily laughs, and it's always at an inappropriate time. But for us as the audience, for me at least, it was funny. He's laughing at things that shouldn't be laughed at, and other people are laughing at. He doesn't understand what society thinks is funny. He's an aspiring stand-up comic, so he wants that. But you know, he wants love life. He wants things to be okay with his mom. And he likes his job. Even though he has a bad job, he enjoys it. He's good to kids. But as society just starts to turn on him, he says, like, listen, like, y'all aren't what you present yourself to be. And I'm going to call you out on it. It's all a joke. Oh, your whole system is a joke. And he gets into that. The violence in this movie is so well placed and timed. It's not overdone. It's not oversaturated. It's such a well thought out movie. I watched a 2-hour movie about this character, and I still feel like I don't know that much about him. But that's the whole point of the Joker, is you don't know about him. You don't know his background. And I'll get into more of that when I get into the spoilers. But yeah, guys, I don't want to. It's hard for me to talk too much about the movie without giving it away. But it's just about how we treat, how we kind of discard mentally ill people, how we push them to the side. He's doing everything he should as a person with his condition. You know, he has this terrible condition that makes even society hate him even more. He wants to be liked. He wants somebody to like him. He imagines this life where people like him and people treat him fairly. But that's not reality. And then once he stops taking his medication, then he starts to see what reality is all about. And it perfectly ties in. So it's like, no matter what Joker you know, whether I grew up on the 90s, early 90s, the Batman anime series. So that was my first Joker. Then I got into, I didn't actually see the first Michael Keaton Batman until later with Jack Nicholson, until later, but that's another one. Then you have Heath Ledger. Then you have the really old school one from the 60s. The character is its own. Joaquin Phoenix made this character his own, but he completely ties into all the lore of the comic books and what the Joker's all about, if that makes sense. It balances it perfectly, in my opinion. Now, the beginning, as I mentioned, is a little slow, but trust me, stick around. Soundtrack, amazing. Yeah, it's just a very, very well shot movie. Great act. Robert De Niro's in it. If you've seen, there's 2 movies. Martin Scorsese, I believe, was a producer on this. He had some involvement, but there's 2 movies from like the 70s, 80s, I think. King of Comedy and Taxi Driver. Those 2 movies combined. That's the simplest way. If you know those 2 films, it's those movies combined. I absolutely recommend. It's not for kids. This movie is not for kids. Do not take your children to go see this movie. Nope. No, you gotta be old. This is one of those. This ain't Marvel Endgame. This ain't a Marvel movie. This is an adult. It's basically taken, but it's only a comic book movie because the character originated in the comics. That's the only reason you can call it a comic book movie. It's because that's where the character's from. But this character could easily be translated into people of today who have mental illness and who can't get the right health care and who society continues to just let down and toss aside and treat like trash. That's in this, you can either become a recluse, which he does, or you can also say, you know what, I'm taking things into my own hands. I do exist. I am a person, and I'm gonna make my presence known. And that's where things get really interesting. The character build is so good. It's so good. At first, I like his laugh seemed inappropriate at times, and his laugh is terribly inappropriate. But it's just at such the most random times. It can throw you off, but trust me, stick around, watch this movie. You'll really enjoy it. But just like my review kind of right now is all over the place, his brain is all over the place. And once he gets his thoughts together, I ain't gonna turn it back. Now, there is one character in the movie that does treat him fairly and treat him like a person, and it just happens to be the other character in the movie that's being mocked. And I don't want to ruin that. That's one of the better scenes in the movie, in my opinion. They're all good scenes. I don't even want to say anything wrong, but ties things together. It's and what's a shame is there's probably not going to be any sequel to this, because I doubt Joaquin Phoenix is going to do any universe. I don't see it happening. I don't see it. But yeah, guys, good flick all around. I mean, it'll make you think about how you treat people too. Because the only people that really like him or understand him are kids and people else that get mocked and treated. They get talked down to and treated differently because they're different. You know, if it's like our society, we do that though. We treat people that we don't understand differently. I don't understand this person, so they're crazy. He had, and I think I didn't touch on this, but like I said, he had a joke book, and in the joke book he said the funny thing about having a mental illness is people expect you to behave as if you don't. I thought that was very telling and very deep. So yeah, if you've dealt with, I mean, and listen, the movie tries to almost get you to empathize with the villain, and does a very good job at that. Now, I'm not going to sit here and justify crimes that are committed and terrible things like that, but it kind of shows that, like, you treat these people terribly, you're opening yourself up for terrible things. So be nice, be kind. If you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. Easy peasy, right? If you feel something bad in your heart about somebody, keep it to yourself. Keep it to yourself. You know what I mean? But yeah, definitely recommend it. Guys, please go see this movie. I don't really do the stars and all that stuff. If I was gonna rate it by stars, I would probably give it like 4.5 or 5, easily. Yeah, it would be the only. There's some spots that could be cut down on a little bit, maybe, if I'm really being nitpicky. But for the most part, extremely enjoyable flick. Very sad flick, but it depends on how you look at it. It could be sad, it could be a comedy. It could be a drama, it could be a comedy, it could be a tragedy or a comedy. It's like the clown faces, you know, the sad clown and the tragedy clown, or whatever they call it, you know, the sad and the happy face. But yeah, everybody lets him down. Everybody lets him down. The system lets him down. I'm now going to go into some spoilers. So, spoiler alert. Spoilers. I'm going to be saying some spoilers right now in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 now. There is a tie-in to Bruce Wayne in this movie. There's a tie-in to Batman. That is one of my favorite scenes of the movie. There's a lot of good scenes. That one is up there when Joker, while he's Arthur, when he's interacting with young Bruce Wayne. And what happens is his mom used to work for Thomas Wayne, Bruce's dad. And Arthur reads one of the letters. And the letter says, your son Arthur, we need your help. So then he goes to the Wayne Manor and sees Bruce outside and kind of confronts him. Not confronts him, but he's like looking at him and doing this. And then he confronts Thomas Wayne as well. He goes to Arkham Asylum because they say his mom was crazy, she's delusional. He sees the paperwork there. There's child adoption papers. But his mom says in a flashback scene that it was all made up and zappa, 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 zappa. So we don't know we don't know who his mom is. That could be his mom, that could not be his mom. He could be adopted, or that could really be his mom. That could be made up. Thomas Wayne could be his dad, or it could not be his dad. He could be Batman's like half brother. We don't know. There's no definitive answers, and that's the beauty of the character. All right, so now returning to the end of the video, I did get the spoiler out there, so if you wanted to hear it, it is there. If not, no worries. But yes, guys, please let me know what you think of the movie if you see it. But yeah. Good meal here today from Five Guys. But yeah, I love the hot dogs from Five Guys. Five Guys has some underrated stuff. Obviously the burgers are good, but the hot dog is like, it's one of my favorite hot dogs around, as far as I can get readily available. The bun, what are you gonna do? They also have good grilled cheese. They have milkshakes. Five Guys is just a solid all-around place. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I greatly appreciate your time. I will see you guys again tomorrow. As I mentioned in my community post, oh, sorry, I'm doing that now, but I mentioned in my community post, I'm going to be reviewing movies for the rest of the month. If you left them in the community, I will do a shout out for you with the movie you requested. If the movie is requested more than once, I'll just mention everybody that requested it. So leave it in the community post if you can. If you want to put it in the comments here as well, that's fine too. I'll try to write them down, keep them in order best I can. I'm going to do some ranking videos at the end of the month, movies I like watching on the day of Halloween, ranking the Halloween franchise, my favorite horror franchise. Guys, for listening to this review, please let me know what you think of the Joker. Again, I greatly appreciate you taking the time to enjoy this meal with me. Have a great rest of your weekend and rest of your day. Until I see you later, be well.